Helen's got a chain. I ain't got no chain.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Merch Money. We've got Chris Greene on today.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
And the crowd goes wild, right?
And the crowd goes wild. There's so many people in the chat. Why is this showing 0 for me?
Yeah, there's
I got
I don't pay
13
attention
over
to
here.
the chat.
Oh, okay,
during-
good. Thank
during
God,
the
because on
shows.
mine is saying it's showing 0. I'm like, I know there's people watching right now.
Try a refresh.
It can be a distraction.
Listen,
anyway.
I think we had the most likes going into this already.
Yes.
I popped over to YouTube. We don't even have a dislike yet. I don't know where
Don't
the
say
hell
it.
our troll is.
They're coming. They're coming. It's all good. Everything's good. All engagement is good for the algorithm, whether it's a YouTube algorithm or on Google or on Facebook, whatever it is. So yeah, don't worry about any. I mean, I'm glad they don't have like a thumbs down button on Facebook. I liked it when it was just like, right? So here's a story. This goes back to before they put in the Facebook reactions, right? Like the love and the wow and the sad. It was like or nothing, right? You can like or you can shut your mouth, right? And I like that because that's the way I really looked at it. Like, because I don't like Google, like YouTube, where you have like a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Other than if I'm watching a video and it's maybe a little longer than 3 or 5 minutes, and I'm like, well, do I actually want to watch this? If the ratio of good to bad likes is too many, right? There's too many bad likes, then I'm gonna say, okay, this is probably not a great compilation video of thug life memes, right? Like I'll use that quick ratio in there. But other than that, I would take the ratio of likes to views, right? So I don't need the dislikes, and I wish Google would get rid of it because I think it kind of creates a negative space where like you don't need to tell me what you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you do like, and I'll give you more of that. Instead, I don't know. They must have a reason for doing it. I'm glad Facebook has not come in with the thumbs down yet. They might change it. Who knows? But if everybody keeps everything positive, like that's the way everything should be. Right. Yeah. Because there are so many opportunities, and any negativity, anything like that is just distraction. It's literally a distraction. And I would go a step further and call it an opportunity cost of doing something positive, doing something that makes you money, doing something that makes you happy. All things that sound a heck of a lot better than worrying about what you don't like and what a thumbs down on YouTube. Like thumbs down my videos all you want, right? Like I'll take the thumbs down over nothing because that means at least you're watching. Yeah. Right?
Exactly.
If you don't get the thumbs down, that means they stopped watching altogether. So it's, you'll take the view either way. But
so guys, do the like button after that whole long conversation.
Yeah, show us some love.
Show Chris. I really appreciate you being on today, Chris. So
this is going to be fun. I like to talk merch, right? It's the beginning of the new year. There's so many things going on. You guys have built an amazing, great community. So a lot of people are listening to you guys, which are gals. Is it wrong to say you guys when you talk to a group of ladies?
Not if you're from the Northeast.
No,
okay.
It's fine.
I like address my emails. Hey guys.
Hey guys. Yeah.
Just checking because I didn't want anyone here to assume intent.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that before.
Right? Don't assume intent. And if someone does take offense, if someone doesn't like that, I apologize, but my intent is not bad when I say you guys.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to compliment your group because you guys have built a great community. And there's definitely a need, and you guys are starting to fill that need for women in merch because there's just like FBA, there's a lot of middle-aged white dudes of merch, and we need more everything else of merch.
Yeah.
And I say that if people who watch me and got into merch because of me, which look, I'm humble, but I get it. Most people, well, maybe not. Yeah, I'd say it's most. I'd say it's a greater than 50% of the people that got into merch, or might say that I'm the one that got them in there. But if they stop watching me and watch you guys instead, good. As long as they're getting what they feel they need to stay motivated, to stay passionate, to keep moving forward, to overcome any hurdles that they it doesn't matter who they listen to. So I'm glad that there are a lot more communities out there that are providing, positive places for education around not just merch, but all of Amazon and side hustle opportunities.
We talk about that very thing on the show. Like we all have such a diverse background, and we are all doing so many different things with why we're doing merch or why we're doing pod. And like what works for Helen might not work for me. What's working for Amy doesn't work for Amy. And it's just like, I just kind of think to provide variety out there, additional education. I might not be somebody's cup of tea, and somebody else might be saying something else that resonates with them. So be it, you know? And
exactly.
It's one other thing too, and I know that I always bring this up when the girls and I are talking, is we're really such a tiny, tiny, tiny sliver of the entire planet. Like, you know, there's room for everybody, man. Like, just be positive and like share what you've learned and pay it forward, you know? Yeah. I don't know.
Well, I do want to be a little obsessed with providing like some kind of value. Actually, there's kind of two kinds of value that I'd like to provide, you know, on your show tonight. And Helen, of course, thanks for reaching out to invite me on. I'm happy to come on, but I don't want to come on so many times everybody gets sick of me and all that, right? Like, I get it. People are on me, but I'd love to provide value to the audience in terms of some kind of motivation, some kind of mindset, because I do see often kind of not a negative mindset. You're going to see what you want to see. So see the positives instead of seeing the negatives. And if there's anything I can help you guys, the hosts, with, you know, given that I've got a lot of experience around kind of teaching and growing communities, if there's anything I can help you with that, we can talk about that. Because I think people listening might also pick up on some things and be like, hey, I like what they did, like growing a group and this, and maybe they want to do it too to find their own audience and help people as well.
Yeah. So let's start with first of all, this is Chris Greene. So I'm sure just about everyone watching knows you already, but just in case, the way I found out about Chris Greene was all the way back in 2014. So before merch, a lot of the audience might know you from merch, but before that, Chris Greene did FBA, which was another program through Amazon. Amazon has like, do you know how many companies they have? It's like, they do so many businesses.
I bet there's over 20 that a small independent person could leverage. 20 different platforms.
I mean, there's Kindle. There's anyways, we won't get into that, but there's a lot. So Amazon FBA is one of the ones that I first met. Well, not met, but started following Chris Greene because he came up so many different times for all different things. So I learned how to do retail arbitrage, and then merch started in September 2015, and Chris Greene just started, you know, every YouTube channel had him on as a guest, and it was like this big thing. So I remember like packing a box, like it was, you know, September, you're really getting ready for Q4. So I had like stuff all over my dining room, packing boxes. I stopped, went on to merch, applied, got accepted, went back to packing my box and listened to the rest. So I did apply the very first month it came out. But at the time, there weren't all these YouTube channels about merch, and there wasn't all these different things. And at the time I was like, oh, well, I'm not a graphic designer, so I can't really do it. And, you know, I just don't know how to do it. So I waited all the way until like October or November of 2016. I waited all the way for Brianna to start VA rental. Well, she had already had VA rentals, but to do the merch side of VA rentals is finally what got me started.
Sometimes you have to hear the same message from someone else.
Yeah.
Right? Well, it's the exact same message, but I've thought about this, and I touched on it a little bit in Chicago. Brianna, you're in Chicago as well, and I'm trying to find a really great and easy way to explain, Helen, what just happened to you over the year, right? Where someone else said the exact same thing, and the only difference is different person, different time, right?
Yeah.
Message was the same. So there's three things that happen. There's a message, and there's a person, and there's a time.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you need to hear? Who do you need to hear it from? And when do you need to hear it? And you can kind of think of those things, and kind of, if you need to reverse engineer it, so you can be like, I really need to hear so-and-so say it. I need to hear them say it now. And I don't even know what I need to hear them say, but I look up to this person, so I need them to tell me something. Whatever it is, you can kind of reverse engineer it to get whatever it is to come out of someone's mouth at the right time, to where you'll have that switch in your head to be like, not doing it, now I'm going to do it. Whatever it is, because it is kind of like, it's very unscientific to think that like, oh, Brianna said it and now you do it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Well, it wasn't that Brianna said it. It was that she started a company that provided designs, because I couldn't get past the fact of like teaching myself how to design for some reason. It was like this block where I'm like, oh, I just can't learn it. So she made the designs, and I bought the design and uploaded it.
Which is funny because you know, this, you know, having Chris on here and talking about how a lot of our past like tie back to you, Chris. So, you know, that's the whole reason that I co-founded VA Rentals to begin with, because I trusted Chris's content I learned a lot of Amazon FBA from you, from online arbitrage and retail arbitrage. And so someone throws me in the Merch by Amazon account, I'm like, in the big group, and I'm like, what the heck is this? I think it was end of November, 2015. And it was the same sort of thing. I just trusted your content already. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's see what this is all about. And immediately one design in, I can't design. What the heck am I doing? Like, I have no clue. Like, I had the one, you know, the typical, like the text. I could go in there and make a text design. Yeah, right. 2 hours of picking font and it still looks horrible. Like, it wasn't happening. But, you know, this is a really good example of the power of Merch by Amazon too, right? Like Helen just said, she couldn't design. I own a company that designs and I can't design. So, you know, people, this is attainable.
Yeah. And I think
you guys solve problems, right? And I think some of it is, and this is where I do feel I give a lot of people good, not advice, but I kind of like give them the right information where they see things differently and be like, wait a minute, I don't have to be a designer, right?
Yes.
Like, wait a minute, I have a problem. Wait a minute, let me find a way to solve my problem. And there's probably other people that have the same problem. And that's where, and I tell people this over and over again, I don't think everybody gets it right away. And that's when you understand merch, or you understand FBA, or you understand sourcing products. If you understand those things, then you can choose where to plug yourself in, where it makes the most sense, where it makes you the happiest, where you can make the most money. Sometimes it's not where you make most. You want to make less money, but be happier and have a schedule. Like you can. That's what I love about all this stuff. It's completely schedule free. It's location independent. If you understand online arbitrage and wholesaling products for Amazon, you can sit at home and work 10 hours a week and create sourcing lists by analyzing different manufacturers that you contact via email. You literally sit at home. And if you can find products that look like they're going to be great to sell on Amazon, you can sell those straight up to people who sit there and they just want to buy more products because they have capital, but they're not good at research. That's just one of, we could come up with 100 different ways to make money with Amazon tonight.
It took a while for me to, like, the whole entrepreneur progression. Like when you went the first year, you're just like,
you're overwhelmed.
Yeah, you're overwhelmed and you can't really like imagine that you can do things where you don't know how to do it yourself. So it's like you don't really have the concept of like, oh, you could hire people, or you could outsource this, or you could watch a YouTube video and learn it. Like, it's just kind of like, oh, I don't know how to do it, so I'm not going to do it. Like,
I bet it's a little bit of a misconception. And I ran across, I got a lot of heat for this back in the FBA days, where people would be so scared that me personally telling other people to sell on FBA was going to bring in so much competition, as if FBA was so easy, right? And the contradiction was they're also as I was teaching FBA, they're like, oh, you're not selling as much anymore. You can't teach it because it's too hard. And I'm like, well, which one is it? Right? It's either so easy that if a Target cashier overhears me saying it, she's going to quit on the spot and start a business, or it's so hard that even though I've sold multiple millions of dollars on FBA back when no one even knew what it was, back before scanners existed, it's so hard that, I haven't sold in 6 months, so I don't really know the game anymore, right? Like it's completely like it doesn't make any sense to think about it that way. These things are simple enough that you can learn them very quickly, right? Like there's that Malcolm Gladwell's, he's got a book like where you become an expert takes 10,000 hours or whatever. It does not take 10,000 hours to learn FBA. It does not take 10,000 hours to learn how to read a scan and know if a product's profitable. It might take some people longer than others. But I would say if you spend a week, take a week off of work, everybody still has a full-time job. This means 40 hours. You're going to wake up and instead of going to work, you're going to commit to learning everything you can about a topic. I would say that you could learn 90% of what you need to know. I'm not saying you can become a chemistry teacher by studying chemistry for 40 hours, but enough that what you need to know to talk about, to understand what chemistry is, right? Now, maybe you can't teach it to other people, but 90%. And the other, get the 95, comes with like a year to get to 100. That's the 10 years, right? There, of course, is a progression like that. But merch, but FBA, all these things. Don't psych yourself out and be like, oh, I don't have time to dedicate 2 years of my life to learning merch. Like, no, we're like 2 weeks, like max, part-time. Like, and it's a mind shift, right? Because I'm 40, right? So I went through you graduate from high school, you're expected to go to college. Doesn't matter. You're going no matter what. If you don't, and that's what we thought. To become an expert in something, you had to get a 4-year degree. I'm like, my 4-year degree hangs on the wall behind this fake bricks right here. It doesn't do anything for me.
Such a joke.
You know, so I encourage people.
I don't regret college, but the idea of it is kind of ridiculous.
Well, it's changing, right? Like, if you've got kids these days, you might be like, I'm not sure if college is going to fit the same, need that it did for this generation or for a generation before. Like it does change. It's important to stay aware of those changes. And it's the same thing with merch. Merch today is not what it was when on September 2015.
Oh God, no.
In ways it's better, in ways it's worse, right? But do you want to spend your time complaining about, oh, I can't believe I got upload limits? Or do you want to be like, holy smokes, they rolled out pop sockets? It's awesome. Let's get to work, right?
And I think this is like, so that brings another point. And sorry guys for watching, like we'll probably go all over the place because we just have so much fun talking to each other. So it's going to be a little like unstructured.
Bunch of freaking squirrels.
Yeah, we have so much we want to talk about. But that idea, like one thing about you is you've stayed so excited and you have so much energy through 10 years of Amazon. A lot of people, they get frustrated at some point along the timeline. They are like, oh, we can't sell Nike, or this happened or that happened, or, merch, the shirts didn't smell good and I got a bad review and it's like it's the end of the world.
If that happened to one of my shirts, I promise you I would not even notice.
Yeah.
Right? Because I get it, but like that's not me. Like I'm not checking the reviews on my shirt. I don't care because it's not something I can control, right?
Yeah.
So there's some advice, guys. If you can't control it, don't spend time on it, right? I mean, how many times, like Brown, in the FBA world, someone returned something. How can I find out why they returned it?
Like, don't even bother.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Right? Because what are you going to do? Contact them and be like, hey, we need to talk about what? No, like what? You can't contact them. If you did, they would report you to Amazon. Like you would be. And then the time
involved. The time involved. Like,
to satisfy
later,
curiosity. That's all it is. They satisfy the curiosity. Oh, they returned it because it doesn't matter. And the number of people that spend time on it. And I'm sure over the years, I've spent time on things that don't matter. So it's not I don't want anybody to think like, oh, we're trying to tell you guys what to do. We just want to like help you. So if you're in a spot where like, oh yeah, I've gone through that. Like we're going to tell you like mistakes and dumb things that we've done. So you can be like, oh, they made that mistake. Oh, I'm doing that right now. I'm going to stop doing it. Like until you don't have to wait until it blows up in your face and you get suspended. We can tell you right now. I gave someone advice on the phone today. They're like, this shirt's selling really well. What shirt is it? I'm like, oh, no. Take that down right away. And it was one of those, it took a long time to get approved. It was like a 5-day approval for her. And I don't know why, right? And she doesn't know why. And you'll never know why. Yeah. But she thought that because it took so long to get approved, it's because Amazon like approved it. Like, okay, yeah, this shirt's good to go. We're going to defend it for you if it's a takedown. I was like, that's not what approval means. No. So I don't want to burst her bubble, but I told her to take it down. And I would rather do that than, get the call, hey, my account got terminated.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'll tell you the mistakes. I've gotten every single violation you can possibly get on a merch account. Every one of them. But my intent is never bad.
Yeah.
Right. And Amazon knows that as well. Amazon does not assume intent on sellers, on merch designers. But if you set off enough red flags, if you push enough buttons with Amazon, then the algorithm's going to say troublemaker and you're going to be out.
Well, and I think that's a good example of too that there's really quite the transiency rate of people getting into whatever space it is and then leaving when their intent isn't good or when they're overwhelmed with actually having to do something. Like you saying like, shoot, it's not 2 years to learn merch, it's 2 weeks, and yet there are complainers that are going to complain it takes 2 weeks. And so those are the people that are not going to be there. They're not going to be around, They're not going to make it happen. So that makes the population.
But they might in the future, right? So here's probably one. It's kind of a mistake, but it's kind of like an altruistic humble brag mistake. I want to help everybody. So like I'll be like, oh, that guy's not doing good. Maybe he'll get it in the future, even though statistically the odds are that no, I am wasting my time. So I'm trying to find that balance. I think everybody needs to find that balance because we have limited time in the day, and you know, most people are good people. The people that we consider bad people probably just have bad choices in their life. They're not even actually bad people. People want to help people, right? But you can't help everybody. So you've got to accept that I can't help any number of people.
But you really have to at the same time through your videos. So there's a lot of
help.
people.
Yeah, you can help as many as you can.
Yeah.
Right. But then there's room for other people to help other people. And you got to be okay saying, you know what, I can't help my man Joe over here, but I'm just going to trust that when he needs some help, he gets the help from the right person, whether it's a future video of mine or from your group or whatever it is, instead of chasing the help. If that makes any sense, instead of like, no, like Joe's my project. Like I've got to make sure he succeeds. It's like, you know what? Sometimes people leave. How many people do we know that have left selling on Amazon?
Oh gosh, so many.
Yeah.
And not for bad reasons. They were like, you know what?
Same with merch though. So many people have left selling on merch as well.
And that's okay too. If it's not fun for them, if it's not worth their time, if they want to pursue other things, it doesn't matter. And that's kind of like a theme for everything is like, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. Anytime you might think other people care. There's some cartoon I saw, like when you're in high school, you think everybody's looking at you.
Yes.
In your 20s, you think your friends are like, and then like by the time you're 40 or 50, you realize no one was not just nobody's looking at you, nobody was ever looking at you.
Right? Yeah, not that they were caring what you thought.
Now, you know, figure it out. Like no one's looking. Like no one cares. Like no one cares about the losses, right? Like if you have real friends, they're going to support you through your wins. And they're not going to care about the losses. So if you got people out there that are caring about your losses, like if they're like, oh, you're going back to work. Oh, what? You couldn't make it with FBA? You're like, thank you for identifying yourself as someone I don't want to hang out with. Like, you don't even have to block. Or anything. You're like, you know what? That person doesn't have my best interest in mind. So I'm going to move on, and maybe we'll be friends down the road, right? Like never like. I don't like the drawing the line in the sand, right? I'm not a big fan of blocking on Facebook. Although I have blocked, I have many people blocked on Facebook. But I tell you, if I block you, you darn well earned it.
I think the only person I blocked was this guy from Ghana or somewhere where he was just like,
listen, if Helen blocked you.
He's the only one I think so far that's been blocked by me because he tried to do one of those scams where you like say, you know, I'll send you something if you send me money first, like one of those kind of scams.
Oh, that's different than what I'm talking about. Yeah,
no, I know, but it was just like he was asking questions about merch and I was answering them, and at some point you could tell he was just frustrated, like, oh, this is too hard. I'm gonna go back to my old life of scamming people. And he immediately switched, and instead of being like asking for questions about merch, he sent me one of those scam things.
Send me money.
Oh
just send me money, Helen. I don't want to do the work.
Awesome. There was that Facebook video that went around where like some guy was like asking for electronics to sell in like Uganda or something.
Yeah.
And the guy said, look, if you want to make some money, I'll like take some pictures and I'm going to publish them in a book. And they became friends. And it was kind of a good example of like, if you're in a bad situation, I mean, the people who try to scam on the internet, it's because they literally don't have a better opportunity. And I should rephrase it. They don't realize that they actually do have better opportunities.
Yeah.
Right. And to take someone who's said, you know what, life sucks. I'll be an internet scammer because, hey, my kid's got to eat more than I care if that American lady has $800 in her account.
Yeah.
We would all probably do the same thing. But you can be anywhere in the world. If you have an internet connection, you can run a Merch by Amazon business. And I would love for that message to be out there very clear. I would give away as much training as anybody in a developing country would watch. I don't want their money at all. I would love for anybody anywhere to be like, hey, I can do this, and give them an out. Give them a good choice when they have 14 decisions in front of them and they all suck.
To me, that's so obvious, and I feel like it's one of the greatest things about merch. Like, it's helping so many developing countries, and for some reason, most people really don't like that concept. That was one of our most
scared. Americans are lazy.
It's our most disliked video is the one where we talk about international sellers. They're like, we don't understand why you're trying to teach international sellers, and why would you do that? And blah, blah.
Well, I'm like, how dare you help people, Helen?
Check it out.
It's so weird to me.
We're not going to assume intent on those commenters.
Yeah.
Right? We're not going to assume intent because their point of view is valid in the sense that some countries, It's not that they don't respect copyright and trademark. They don't understand it, right? So when they do something that completely violates trademark and copyright, instead of assuming intent that they're bad people, we say, hey, let's assume that they like benefit the doubt that they don't understand copyright and trademark. Now, there are select groups of international merch designers who know darn well what they're doing, and they're taking advantage of the system, and they are being very negative. And I'm not talking about them. I can't help them, right? I don't know if I can shift their mindset, but I can shift the mindset of other countries and anyone else who's like, oh, I didn't realize I couldn't. I thought Coca-Cola would like it if I put their brand on a shirt, because then people would see it. Like, you can see where they're coming from, and you have to say, no, Coke will make their own because they want to make the money off it. And a good example of this, my brother works in the video game world, and he worked and lived in China for, I think, 4 or 5 years. And he was in charge of, like, these are like big games, like Splinter Cell, Prince of Persia, these like top tier games. He was the lead animator on them. So he would be directing a team to make levels, right? And if you know anything about, like, I'm gonna go shoot zombies in this warehouse, and I got to bust through the doors. So every room is made from scratch, like decorated with different things. And they were putting Coca-Cola 2-liter bottles on the counter in the kitchen. And my brother has to come in and say, no, don't do that. And it's like, why not? Like, get off. Like, what's, like, almost like upset. So this is very Chinese culture. It's like, why can't I put? And he would say, you just can't. All right, we'll call Coca-Cola. They'll give us money, and then we'll put them in. But we have to have a contract. And he even told me the story. He says, even then, they didn't believe me. They didn't agree with me, but they did it because I was the boss, right? They did it because they were told, they were like, fine, this doesn't make any sense, but I'll take this. I'll take it out. I'll take out the 2 liters. Right? But they still didn't understand it because it's cultural.
Yeah.
Right. So when you understand that about the international merch community, and I mean, this should be the first video in an international. Like, you need to understand, even if you don't understand.
And that's why we were doing the video. That's why we were doing it, to explain all the different things and, all the different, whatever. So, but anyway,
you've got to make recorded content for the international, because they're not going to have any money, right? So you can't sell them a course.
Yeah, no, it was.
And you got to cross your fingers that they actually take it. That's another thing. I mean, I know this is squirrel all over the place. If you don't charge people for something, they're not going to be serious about it.
Yeah.
Right. So giving a course away to low income.
Some people will take it seriously. I took all of your free content seriously. I really did.
I would love to do a free course. It's $100. If you get to the end, I'll give you $100 back.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Like, make them go through the course. You want that money back?
Hold them accountable.
There's a gym. There is a gym that does that. There's a gym that does that. They have some kind of thing where you have to pay a certain amount, and then if you really do lose that amount of weight or whatever your goal is, they give you the money back.
Nice.
Money is the motivator.
Yeah.
And put that on a t-shirt.
There you go. So so a couple times in there you said, like, not assuming intent. And before the show started, I was sort of apologizing to Chris, and I was like, sorry I didn't make it to the conference. Like, I don't want you to think I was avoiding it or something. I just had a friend's wedding. He's like, why would I think you were avoiding it? And so that started the conversation of, like, you can never assume people's intent, or, always assume that people are trying to do the right thing, not that they're trying to do the wrong thing.
Yeah. And what would you think of me if I was, like, talking behind your back, saying how upset I was that you didn't miss a wedding to pay money to a conference? Like, that'd be the dumbest thing I could do, right? Then I would look like the idiot, right? I would look like the bad guy. I spent a lot of time thinking. I give this piece of advice. I do not listen to the radio in the car. I like to drive in silence. I think it's one of the few places where you actually get silence and think. Mm-hmm. And if you think about things, you're going to find some, you can come up with some pretty good ideas, but you have to find that time alone. And people don't get that too often anymore. No. That's why I thought of the intent thing. I was like, all these problems come back to people assuming intent. Even myself, like, if I'm assuming someone's intention, right? Like, oh, someone left the door open and now the house is cold. Like, what am I upset about? I would be upset if they left it open on purpose, right? But surely and clearly nobody just leaves the door open on purpose. So I'm getting upset over nothing, right? Someone left the door open by mistake. Who freaking cares? Right? Why am I getting upset? Why? Because I'm assuming intent. right? And it goes for everything. And I challenge everybody, next time you're upset about something or with somebody, think if you're assuming intent or if the other person is assuming intent. And when they are, you're like, oh, that's their problem, right? They're assuming intent.
Yeah, and it can happen so easily in Facebook groups or on the internet or wherever, because you're not seeing the person face to face. You're just like, you know, trying to read something that they typed, and you don't really know where they're coming from or what they're saying. You're implying the tone of voice that they wrote it in. It's like, you know,
it's so different.
It reminds me of way back before I started teaching, when they talked to us about, I mean, geez, but at 21, what year was that? 2001, 2002, talking about early days of writing emails and how they can be really easily misconstrued. And I can remember being in college, like, you got to be careful, like a comma, you like incorrect punctuation, capital letters, like, you know, yeah. So
I never took that as screaming. I feel like people really like got offended by the capital letters, and I was just like, what? Just someone too lazy to turn off the caps lock.
You know? The intent thing. You're assuming they intended to press the caps lock down.
Yeah, I mean, come
instead
on.
of it was an accident, and they're like, I don't even know how to turn it off. Right?
And how is that shouting at you? Is there any sound involved here? No.
Well, we're changing the way we communicate, right? We've gone from like hieroglyphics, and we're back to emojis now.
Yeah.
You know? And it's not that it's right or wrong. It's just that the way we're communicating is changing. And people get upset over, oh, it's not like it was in the good old. I mean, I got kids. My kids are 11 and 9. I am very aware that the world that they are living in now and will grow up into is different than the world I grew up in. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. A lot of people are like, oh, it's different. Not okay. Because if it's not the same, then they're thinking that maybe theirs is worse or theirs is wrong. No one wants to know like the future for their kids is better, right? Or is right, because it has more women's rights and less racism. To be like, wait a minute, that means that in my life was worse, and I don't like that, so I'm going to get upset. It's like, no, you should be happy. Like, don't dwell on the fact that you lived in a time that was worse on a spectrum of morality, whatever you want to call it. Be happy that your kids are going to live in a place that's better, right? Like, it's the same thing. But what are you seeing? You're seeing the negative, or you're seeing the positive. The thing doesn't care how we react to it. I'm just glad that the world's generally getting better.
And I'm glad you think that. Some people don't think it's getting better.
Whatever.
Chris always looks at everything as like everything is. You see the good in everything.
Everything is good. There's nothing to complain about.
That's what I think.
Next time you talk to somebody who says things are getting worse or whatever, tell me what year you would like to live in.
I know.
If they don't say 2019, they're a liar.
Yes, right? I agree.
Because medicine is better now. The internet's faster than it's ever been. Yeah. The TVs are bigger and cheaper. like babies are living longer. Like everything is better.
You know what's better? This is crazy. I've been thinking a lot about this, especially those of us that were born late 70s, early 80s. We are in this weird like cohort of like not having the internet and not having a phone, and then all of a sudden like just it's in our face. And then a lot of people either just, we just devoured it and like took it on and figured out how to use it. And now obviously our children, it's a way of life for them. But there's a lot of others that like never crossed the threshold.
Yes. And I'm
ready to claim for our generation. That was the best invention ever, the internet. Claim.
Yeah. I mean, like, I still remember like index cards going down, like you had to know the Dewey Decimal System.
The library catalog.
Yeah, go through the card catalog and like open a book and write your report that way. You know, it's amazing. But that's also a good example for anyone in this group or older. Like all of this stuff online now has come so far that even if you didn't have that experience and even if you didn't grow up in this time period, doesn't matter. You can actually learn it very, very easily. There's just so many like tools and stuff that and software and education out there that exists that like puts this at everyone's fingertips. It's crazy.
My grandparents took a class. It was like internet for seniors.
Yeah.
And they learned how to do the internet. I mean, it was brilliant because they're not going to listen to like, you know, the youngins.
Yeah.
They don't know nothing, you know. Let's go take the class.
Yeah.
You know what this makes me think of is appreciation.
Yes,
right?
You're
Because
the best with appreciation.
Well, I'm 40, right? I haven't hit 41. I got my 40. I was born in 1978. So like just like Brianna said, I know, like I graduated in 96. So I'm like right on that line of like my rich friends in high school had pagers.
Yeah.
I didn't have,
You're a rich friend. I love that. That's hilarious.
right? Only the rich kids had pagers.
Or the drug dealers.
I'm laughing because I had a freaking pager. I don't even know why. 911.
Super rich, but like you had to be not super poor, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all. But you know, we had no cell phones through high school. We had no internet. There was no computer lab. It was after I graduated, and then we got like my brother got me on America Online with the cuckoo and all that. I still remember it. You know, I actually that sound reminds me of a smell because I had like a Valentine's like kind of candy basket thing, and while I'm waiting for like the internet, I would like eat the worst of the candy because it was all like cheap, crappy, hard candy.
You associated the two?
When I hear that sound, I smell this cheap Valentine's candy because I was come on, like get going.
I was allowed a book. I'm like
super slow, and then you know I went to Texas A&M, and like that's when cell phones got cheap. I was like, oh, 3 minutes after 9 o'clock, everybody's like, hell yeah, like let me borrow your cell phone. We all calling our moms after 9 o'clock.
Yeah, so listen, everybody needs to replay this of Chris, right? And then go back and complain because there's a vinegar smell on your t-shirt. That was bad.
What?
Like we had problems back in the day.
Things are easier today. I mean, like print on demand business in '96. Like, no, you couldn't. Like the things you can do today, and that, when you don't have anything to compare it to. And here's like a parenting lesson, right? And I don't know a way around this. So that's probably one of my biggest frustrations of having kids and being a parent is that my kids don't know the way it used to be. Like they don't actually know. Yeah. Right. They don't know what it feels like to not be in communication, to not have fast internet, to not or to have to watch a commercial during a television show that you're watching. They had to come home and like they don't know what that feels like. So they don't appreciate how awesome it is. Like my kids, they saw a live commercial. I remember the first time they saw a live commercial. It was on live sports. And they're like, Daddy, fast forward it. Because we'd always TiVo Thomas the Train and all that. They had never watched a live commercial in their lives. And they're old enough to talk and like understand what's going on. I said, I can't skip it. It's live. And they both looked at me like, what's live TV? That was not a concept that they had. If you grew up with everything that you ever wanted, it's on TiVo. You're like, oh, I can watch it whenever I want. Like they don't know. And when you don't know, it can be hard to appreciate. And I don't think that they're unappreciative. But I think if they knew and really conceptualized the way it used to be, they would realize how amazing it is.
You would think that, but there's a lot of other 40-year-olds. You're not the only one, and they don't have that appreciation that you have. So I think it's something that some people are more able to remember how things were and appreciate things as everything gets better and better. You appreciate it more and more, and some people are still finding things wrong. They're still like, well.
I probably have a lot of people who are 40 and listening. There's probably gonna be a pretty big group of people with college degrees. They're 40 years old and they've worked one job their entire life.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot. So anybody if you're watching, chat, whatever, like there's one call to like type something in. If you're 35 to 45 and you've worked one job out of school and that's it. Because if that's your life, it is going to be difficult to start looking and seeing like, oh, I could start a merch with Amazon business in my spare time. Like that's not a world that they're
it's a foreign concept.
Yeah. So you got to kind of get to that level first to be like, oh, wait a minute, there's a lot of people out here doing this. It's not just me who has this entrepreneurial kind of itch that I'm trying to scratch, and my friends, family, neighbors, and all this stuff don't care and laugh at me, but I still feel it that I really want to pursue something. It's normal. Like, yeah. We're out here, but they didn't know it. And then they have to kind of conceptualize that we're out here, find the right groups, watch the right channels, like make these connections. It's often not an overnight process, which is another, I don't want to say it's like a fault, but like when someone comes in and they don't see what we're trying to do early on, sometimes people get upset. Sometimes people lash out. Sometimes people get confrontational. And I try not to assume intent, to be like, dude, you don't understand what this group's about.
Teresa, don't feel. Teresa says she feels older than dirt. Teresa, you are doing this business, and
you feel as old. You are as old as you feel.
No, she's amazing. She's doing this business, and she's traveling the world in her RV.
Teresa's a badass.
She's living the life she wants.
Laura said there's a video going around on Facebook. That's two teenagers trying to figure out how to dial a rotary phone.
Yeah.
I like that. That is funny because I remember thinking it was hard and I was a kid.
So it is a little weird.
My grandparents, they owned a business and they had a rotary phone, and they must have had the last rotary phone in all of the county, where you still had to like rent it from the phone company. And like kids would walk home from school. I can remember like being in high school and all that. And like, they'd be like, "Can I use your phone?" And they'd go in and they were like, "What do we do with that thing?" And that was even back then, you know. I can't imagine now.
It seems like such a really slow way of dialing, which is like, why
are you about to say something, Chris?
Oh, I was just going to say that my phone number had 2 zeros in it. So nobody even liked calling me. I was like the worst number to call.
Oh, yeah. You gotta go like all the way around.
Oh, yeah.
All the way. You know, and if you messed up, you're like, oh, I have to
you got to start over. Yep.
What about the light up phones where you could see through them?
Those were cool.
Oh,
those were cool.
awesome.
My friend had one. I was so
We didn't have one.
Me too. Yeah. I didn't have one either.
Dude,
I didn't have my own
phone.
phone. That just didn't happen.
So fourth grade?
The only people's phone numbers I know are people that I knew before cell phones.
Yeah.
Nobody memorizes numbers anymore.
Did you guys ever have a VCR with a remote that had a cord?
No.
I swear. It was from like 1981 or something. I was like, we pulled it out one time because we just used the regular VCR, and I was like, "There's a remote," and I was like, 8 or 9, and I plugged it in. I was like, "Wait, why is there a cord?" And it was like, play, stop, and I think maybe a pause button.
Wow.
Oh man,
that's old school. That's really old.
And now we got this. This is your VCR. This is your TV. This is your dial-up in high-speed internet.
Yeah.
This is you can now, and people don't remember when merch came out, you could not upload from mobile. The site it wouldn't work. Yep. I don't remember exactly when they changed it, but now you can upload and run everything.
Yes, I've done it. Yep.
Just a phone. You get an internet. You could get a Google Fi phone, which is going to work in 140 different countries out of the box. And that's it. And run your entire merch business from there. Get on any plane you want, land in any country that they'll take your passport, and run your merch business, right? Like our parents couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Our parents should be mad at us. Right?
How about a phone without a dial? You had to contact the operator. That's old.
Well, and you know what, like, Chris, what you're talking about is just making me think about the fact that like the opportunities, like this is a huge one and a powerful one, but like the opportunities really are endless. And like, look back to a generation before us, 2 generations before us, what were your options? Like, you didn't have any, right? Like, you kind of like
open a restaurant or something, and that's
it.
Like,
like you pick a career and you roll with it. Yeah.
Yeah. If you found some kind of way to get a loan or something, but yeah, I guess people mostly would work and then maybe like use all their life savings to try to open this restaurant or something.
Yeah, and then 9 out of 10 restaurants fail anyway. It's like,
yeah.
If anyone should be mad, it should be our parents and our grandparents. And one of the stories, I haven't told it in a while, I bet you guys haven't heard it. My mom worked in the printing industry for like 35, 40 years, like printing everything that gets printed. The big machines that are long as like 3 school buses, and the paper goes in one side, and folded advertisements for Circuit City come out the other, like massive, massive machines. And then I get into self-publishing on Amazon, and I'm publishing books. And I uploaded it, last night, and I ordered it today, and I did overnight shipping, so it's going to be here tomorrow. And she's kind of like, you don't know. You have like in a tone of voice, like you don't know how good you have it. You don't know what that would have taken time-wise and money-wise. And here I am. What am I doing? I'm complaining that I can't get it even faster.
Yeah.
I'm like, why can't I upload it and order it on the same day? Why do I have to wait one day to get approved? Make it faster. It's fast. You don't know. That is really fast. At Amazon, don't make it faster, right? Like, but you don't. That's what I mean.
And just being able to have like
appreciate it if you don't know the past.
just being able to have like backspace and stuff like that. You could just type fast and make a mistake. It's fine. Like my grandmother had to type everything. It had to be perfect. There was no like, you could, especially like she did, I think, legal documents or something where you weren't allowed to do like white out over it or something. So it had to be perfect.
I took typing in high school, right?
Yeah.
That was good. You know, glad I did that with the little white strips you put in. And then
she wasn't even allowed to use the white strips. So it's like, it had to be perfect.
Remember the old printers that were like took a year to print?
Oh, with the
pages?
holes
Like,
on the side of the paper?
I was like, oh my gosh, let's print this thing.
Yeah, dot matrix. Those were sweet.
And then there was like purple ink.
Oh my gosh, it's 8:45, guys. I feel like we're still at the intro, like just talking. But so
hey, quickly, sometimes this is what an audience needs. It's just to like
just chill. It's like whatever, just have fun. But what do you think? Speaking of all these opportunities, what do you think are some of the opportunities this year with merch? Like, do you think that it's getting better? Do you feel like it's getting too saturated? What do you think?
Well, you're gonna kind of see what you want to see if you think of it that way. You know, like a generic answer around everything tech is it's going to get bigger and better and faster and cheaper, which is good, right? As platforms grow, they figure out problems that they have. They might have some fires that they can't put out because they're putting some other ones out, and you can find any type of negative or bad or something to dwell on. But the goods always outweigh the bads, in my opinion, right? And I'm not, everybody thinks I'm like an Amazon ambassador and an Amazon cheerleader and an Amazon this. And I'm like, I just call it like I see it. I'll call Amazon out when they do something stupid. When they ask me for a tip on my Whole Foods order, like,
I remember you got mad about that.
I messaged everybody I know at Amazon saying this is because it's not very Amazon-like, right? That's why it caught me off guard. I will pay $6 to have it delivered.
Yeah.
But don't tell me if I don't tip this guy that he might not be getting paid enough because you're not paying him.
The old guilt trip tip.
So I mean, I'll call them out when they do something stupid, you know, and they're growing. So I'm not going to assume intent. I'm going to assume that it's something that they're going to look at the data and they potentially fix it. But for merch specifically, I think you're going to see more markets expand. I think you're going to see additional products. I think you're going to see people get approved faster. I think you're going to see designs get approved faster. I think you're going to see improved kind of copycat type detection, where if someone uploads something too similar, Amazon's going to catch it with software before it ever even goes live. The platform's going to get better. At the same time, you know, could it be so popular that, you know, they have a hard time keeping up with production? Possibly. Is it still amazing? Absolutely. Right. Like it's it's you see what you want to see.
Yeah. Well, I saw like when merch started, for anyone who doesn't know, they only had 2 t-shirt options, and then it wasn't
they only had one printer.
Yeah, 1 printer and 2 t-shirt options, and they kept running. Like it was all this chaos because it's like it was so much demand. It's like it took until November 2017 before they added long sleeve shirts. So that's 2 full years of just 2 t-shirts. And it was a lot of like colors would run out, the freezes would happen every Q4. But then from November 2017 until July 2018, it was long sleeve sweatshirts, hoodies, pop sockets, England and Germany, all in like 9 months. And the Q4 went perfect. So when that happened to me, I was like, I feel like they at this point, they have all the printers, they figured out the business, like they could have as many products as they want this year. That was my like feeling, but I don't know.
Well, they figured some things out. People have to keep in mind that what merch is doing has never been done before.
Yeah.
You know, even if you understand selling a little bit, to understand that, okay, now we're going to take a product that literally doesn't exist.
Yeah.
We're going to assign 85 different ASINs to it, right? For all these different color and size variations.
Yeah.
We need to keep track of the women's Greene mediums and not take orders for them once the stock gets too low. And,
right.
And how do we take one ASIN out of a page? Like, these are complicated problems.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I saw an interview with the head of YouTube, who was taking some heat because some of the ads that were on certain channels and certain videos, you know, might have been inappropriate, or the video was inappropriate, or the ad was inappropriate for the video, whatever it was. And he kind of said, hey, we are trying to like catalog every video in the world and have it serve up to any device in the world instantly. So that's
by the way,
big problem that we're pretty good at it.
Yeah.
But we're still trying to figure it out, right? There's still these systems that are huge and complicated.
People got frustrated with merch because it felt like they were learning so much slower than some of the other platforms. But I'm like, you got to understand, like they have billions of customers or billions of sales. Like it's such a higher scale than these other platforms that to me, it was like, of course it's going to take a little longer to figure out because the amount you have to print every day is just astronomical.
Yeah, and Amazon's putting the customer first through all of this. So everything that they did, while it might frustrate a designer, is keeping the buyer happy, keeping the customer happy. Like, well, what do you mean they don't have any black extra large? Well, what are you gonna do? Take orders for them and piss off all the customers? Like, what's the alternative? No, they're doing the best they can by saying, look, we're not gonna take orders for it. Sorry, it was your best selling shirt. But they're assuming intent. Oh, Amazon took my stuff down. I was selling too much. Amazon wants you to sell too much.
Yeah.
Right? They want you to sell just as much as you. Amazon makes money when you make money.
And how grateful should everybody be that this year there was no real freeze?
But that's
where's all the posts about that, right? Where's all the posts about how awesome Amazon is? There was no freeze.
Right? Well, that's what I really want to get excited about, because I feel like a lot of people have, including myself, like I'm working on building brands this year and everything. Like a lot of people have sort of gone off on their own little paths away from merch, but I feel like it's really starting to come together. Like they're not running out of shirts. They're not. The shirts are getting delivered faster. They added a lot of new products, and I feel like they're going to add a lot more new products and new platforms, because it seems like they completely get it now, how to do this business. So to me, I'm like, every time you upload a design, it could exponentially be on so many more products in the future. And maybe they'll improve the upload process so you can upload it and have it go on everything at once. So I don't know. I don't want to slow down. Like I'm still trying to upload as much as I can and stick with merch, because I feel like it's getting so much better.
Yeah, you guys all know Andy Slamans, I'm guessing.
Yes, I do.
He's got a great line about FBA, and he says the best time to get into FBA is 2008. Mm-hmm. And the second best time is right now. Right? Which is true. I mean, you can't go back in time, right? Like, so it would be worse to wait for the future. Mm-hmm. You should do it right now. So getting into merch, like, that's why is it perfect now? No, but it's pretty close. I mean, I don't really know what anybody really has to complain about it today. But the past 3 years, there are plenty of things you could have complained about. It was still awesome. It was still to think, and anybody that comes from a seller background gets it, right? Mm-hmm. Product page, when it sells, I get money. I do nothing. Yeah, I'm interested. Right?
Sold.
I shouldn't have to really convince somebody to get into merch when you understand Amazon. And most people, they're starting to. I mean, it's harder to find someone now who doesn't know what Amazon Prime is, or doesn't have Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
A lot of people still don't know what FBA is, and even fewer people know what merch is. But then when you tell them and say, well, merch it's print-on-demand apparel. You have product pages on Amazon, and when they sell, Amazon's going to do all the work, and you're going to get money. That's a quick enough elevator pitch to get them interested, to be like, okay, it doesn't cost money. I can make money and I don't have to do work. Sounds a little too good to be true, but I'm listening. All right. So tell me more about like who makes the images, right? And you get into that conversation. Mm-hmm. I would hate to have that conversation today, and I'm probably responsible for more than half the people getting into retail arbitrage and online arbitrage. But teaching it back then was a lot easier and simpler. It was to say, look, go scan some stuff, put it all in a box. It's all going to go to the same place. You're going to have no competition. It's all going to sell in 24 hours, and you'll never get a question. You'll never have to check the contents of a box. You don't have to check your message. You don't have to check Seller Central ever. You just get paid. That's what FBA used to be like.
Yeah, it really was.
Now I would not teach FBA and retail arbitrage and book scanning to just any old grandma, which I taught hundreds of grandmas, because grandmas could do it in 2010, 2011, 2012. Right? Mm-hmm. It's a different game now. A grandma could do it, but it's a more full-time gig for that grandma. Mm-hmm. Where if it's a grandma who wants to be very passive, I would send them to merch.
Yeah.
The opportunities change. And I did kind of tease that I have a little bit of a big announcement. So I don't know how late you guys want to go. We can go a little bit.
We normally do an hour, so we're already towards the end, but we could, whatever you want. We can.
What I feel I'm good at, and you guys, tell me if you think I'm right, or if if you would redefine it differently. But I do feel that my best strength for people is talking to them one-on-one, finding out where they're at, what they want to do, what they're good at, what their goals are, and then kind of giving them some advice, not telling them what to do. No one should listen to, like, I don't tell anybody what to do. I tell people what maybe they should do if they want, but I don't tell anybody what to do. But when I find out people have these strengths and talents and interests and never realized that if they put them together and made a YouTube channel with a merch store in the description, and they could really enjoy helping people, making content, and making money at the same time from home, they're like, whoa, that's a really good idea. How do you know all this stuff? And I'm like, I don't. I just know other people that do that, right? Or if they're like, hey, I want to sell on Amazon because I saw this video where this guy made $10,000 buying clearance at Walmart. I'm like, you live in the middle of nowhere, right? Like, you don't have a Walmart close. And we talk a little more, and they're like, yeah, I got this degree in graphic design, but I never really use it. I'm like, have you heard of Merch by Amazon? They're like, no, what's that? I'm like, you should do that. Oh, you're like the best ever, Chris. You told me about. I was like, I don't feel like I'm the best ever for doing that. I just kind of feel I have this talent to kind of sort people in to say, look, where you at and where you want to go. And here's a platform over here that I'm guaranteed they've never heard of. And I've been trying lately to not assume, not intent, but not assume people's goals. Because a lot of people want to make $1 million. And then you find people that want to make $1 million a month, right? I can't help you make $1 million a month. I'm not that guy. But I can help you make extra money on the side doing any number of things in very few hours from home while you keep your full-time job and benefits and coworkers that you like anyway. And I've probably or underestimated the number of people who are thrilled to death to make $1,000 a month. Thrilled to death. And that is very attainable for almost everybody, right? They want to keep their job. They want to have their vacation fund, their college fund, just their emergency fund, just their, hey, if something happens at work, I know I can spend more time on this, kind of hustle, or they just want to have some kind of side hustle, just for their own personal, it's just who they are, what they want to do. Helping people do that, to me, is very easy. And I enjoy doing it, but it's completely unscalable, right? I can't talk to everybody. Brianna, like Chicago, me and you.
That was amazing what you guys did.
20 minutes, every 3 people an hour for 8 straight hours, no breaks, no nothing. And I guarantee those people, I can't guarantee it, but I would bet that more people there or that day got more value out of that 20-minute conversation with either me or you, or a lot of it did both, right? Smart people signed up for both, than they did at the entire conference. Because at the one-on-one, personalized, oh, this is what I'm doing. Oh, you really think that what I'm really good at could be turned into a business? And give them the confidence and permission to do so, and then give them a little bit of a path to say, you know what, if I were you, I'd focus on YouTube, Instagram, and Merch by Amazon. You're going to hear a bunch of other stuff, block it out, because Snapchat is not for you right now. Okay, maybe later, right? So get them focused. And they're like, thank you, that's what I needed to hear. That's what I needed to hear. That's who I needed to hear from, because they looked up to me, they trusted me, they looked up to Brianna, they trusted Brianna, and they got it the right time, and they took that action. So that being unscalable, my best effort to scale it is to do they're live. It's basically a free coaching podcast where anyone can come on. We'll talk about whatever you want, and anyone can listen to the replay. So people can say, you know what, that's me. I'm the grandma who lives 45 minutes from a Walmart. My daughter has a degree in graphic design, and I know we can work together and do something. I'm like, yeah. And you can get that, and 45 people can get that from listening to the replay, because I can't coach 46 people, right? So I got to do the one for everybody else.
That's awesome. That'll be so great.
So I'm taking appointments.
Nice. How can people sign up?
ChrisGreene.com.
And then how's the replay work, Chris?
I'll put the replay up on iTunes. It'll be like a regular podcast, as well as on YouTube. So you can watch the video replay. I'll try to edit out any of the dumb stuff, because not everyone's going to go perfect for replay, but people can also listen and go along live. And it's my best, I'm just trying to find the best way to scale it.
Yeah.
And I enjoy helping people one-on-one. I wish I recorded the lady I talked to today, because it was a really good call in the sense of it made me look really smart. Right?
You are really smart.
But I am aware, that's what I get out of it, right? So for someone I'll do a free coaching call with you, but you have to let me look really smart and coach you, right? Like, I get the content. And if someone wants private, we can work that out. But to go free, I'll coach people for free. but we get to use it to inspire and help everyone else as a recording. That's the plan, at least. And we'll kind of
I love that plan. I think that'll be great.
And you guys can sign. This isn't like just for newbies, you know. Like I'm very thankful. I'm blessed that I know pretty much every expert in the Amazon world. So I also have, you know, ask the expert kind of things. But a few times, you know, a few episodes every week, I want it to be completely free coaching where someone could just like, this is where I'm at. This is what I want to do. What do you suggest? And I say, for whatever reason, I seem to be good at that. So if I can be good at that and scale that to as many people as possible in a system, and that's another thing, I want to document it so people can say, hey, I want to do what Chris Greene does. I'm like, good, here's the system. You record it live, you edit it out. Here's where you upload the audio. Here's where you upload the video. You know, I'm not trying to make anything about me. If someone can do free coaching calls about Amazon and side hustles better than me, please put me out of business. Right?
Yeah.
Because the audience, the customer should win.
Yeah.
I challenge anybody.
You're definitely a few steps ahead of most of us. But anyway,
it's not just any merch. That's what I want. You know, I want to talk about self-publishing. I want to talk about building YouTube audiences, networking with Instagram influencers. You know, it's a matter of, if you don't know the pieces, you can't put them together. And even if you know the pieces but can't put them together, it's not going to do you any good. So
do you know people at YouTube?
That's how I would do it.
Chris, do you know people at YouTube?
Not at YouTube, but I know a lot of YouTubers that are pretty influential.
I somehow messed up our channel where we don't get monetized. So I need to
How are you trying to monetize? Let's talk about that.
I mean, I can't, we don't have AdSense.
Good.
So at all.
Good.
Okay, well, there you go. See,
if you had AdSense, I would tell you to turn it off.
Really?
Like
okay, cool. Now I don't feel bad.
This is one thing I learned about YouTube. 48 hours of YouTube is uploaded, or 48 hours of video is uploaded to YouTube every minute. 2 whole days worth every minute. Right? So like, you can't watch all of it. So if someone actually watches your stuff instead of any of the other stuff, be super thankful and don't put an ad in front of it, because you're going to lose. If 100 people click and you lose 28 people to the ad, it ain't worth it. You'd rather have those 28 views who could turn into email subscribers, who could purchase designs or any of these things, instead of, oh, well, we collected 14 cents on our ad.
This is another reason why you're smart, because you think long term, big picture. That's what a lot of people miss. They're thinking like, well, I want to make the 5 cents right now.
No, I mean, you just have to drive so much traffic to ads. You know, even the big accounts, they get millions of views on every video. I mean, yes, they make a few $1,000s per video, which sounds amazing. But when you understand Amazon, there are a lot of different ways to make a few $1,000s. And the audience is the more valuable part. You want them to watch your video. You want to have that call to action. Sign up for my email list and buy my $600 course instead of, you know, hey, subscribe, watch all my videos, and I'm going to make $1.06 off of you all year. Right? Like, there are easier ways to make more than $1.06.
Yeah.
You know, like with merch, one t-shirt. Right? You're going to make them watch an ad? No, forget. Like,
awesome. Okay, I like that.
Won't see ads on my stuff like that.
Perfect. And speaking of we haven't even said, I mean, I've said it before, but not yet on this show. When we all of us started Merch Money, I was only thinking of it like a YouTube show. I wasn't thinking of it as like, oh, we need a website, or we need a Facebook group, or we need all this stuff. So when I finally was like, oh, I should get a website, I looked up Merch Money, and I was like, oh, Chris Greene.
At least you looked up who owned it instead of looked it up, oh, it's taken and given up, right?
Yeah.
Like, you went one step further. Well, let's see who owns it. Like, oh, good, it's someone I know. Right?
Well, yeah. So I tried to buy it from him. He's like, you can just have it. I'm like, what? So I really want to thank you for that. That was really nice of you.
But that's a really good example, though, too, Chris, of how long you've been in the community. I mean, like, Chris was already steps ahead, like buying up domain names, and I don't know how long you owned it for, but that's just an example.
It was like only a few months that merch had been around, and he bought all the merch websites. So that was awesome.
It was so obvious where merch was going, and I'll tell you this: a little insider.
So obvious to you. That is not so obvious to everyone. Like, that's what's one of your great talents. Is you're skills. It's one of your main. So many talents, but where you're able to see what is a good opportunity.
Sometimes, you know, like I stay in my lane with expertise, because like there are plenty of things where I didn't see it coming. Like Jet, I didn't see Jet taking over, you know, and getting so big that Walmart had to buy them out. I could have. There was a contest for like 100 shares of Jet stock or something if you got the most people to sign up for Jet, and I had somebody message me saying, "Hey, you should get a lot of people to sign up for Jet in case it gets big." And I'm like, I ain't wasting my time with that. Those shares ended up being worth like $3.5 million.
Yeah, I love hearing Gary Vee talk about Uber, because it's the same thing. It's like, oh, I don't think Uber is going to do anything.
But the past is the past, right? Like don't dwell on your losses, instead of being like, okay, like learn from them and be like, oh, I remember when I messed that up and I'm not going to do that again. And you may have to mess it up 3, 4, or 5 times. Like it doesn't matter. But I mean, merch was very clear to me because of my Amazon history.
Yes.
Right. So it's not that I anyone else that saw it might not have seen it. But I mean, there's other people who saw it without an Amazon background and got in really early and thought it was great. So it's not unique, but it's like when you believe something, I encourage people to kind of go for it a little more than like to tell their family, and their family says that's stupid. And they're like, oh, you're right, that is stupid. Like if you actually believe
so many people do that, by the way.
I get it. You know, like it can be hard to overcome, you know, if you're looking for other people's approval, which is why I do suggest people hang out in the Facebook groups that they identify with the most, and they get support and they get encouragement, and they don't get like any of the bad vibes and the negativity and all that stuff. You know, for that very reason, so that when you have an idea, people come along and support you, or they give you good feedback and say, you know what, that looks like a good idea, but it's probably got these types of flaws, and it's feedback. It's not like criticism and hate or anything, right? Like, you don't want blind support, right? Like, hey, I'm going to go like, you know, I'm going to lease another car today. Like, no, you've already leased 7 cars, buddy. Like the 8th, that's a bad idea. You know? You don't want blind support, you know, but you do want positivity in your life.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's, the websites. Yeah. I mean, I got myself in trouble. I bet you guys don't know this story. Amazon called one day. Yeah. Not email, not letter in the mail.
Oh man.
On the
day
phone.
I get an Amazon call, I'll be like, oh.
If you get a 206 number on your phone, you should probably answer it. It's gonna be somebody from Amazon. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna need that FBA power domain because we're trademarking FBA. And we're like, oh. So I said, all right, well, let me talk to somebody. And I called our lawyer and I said, you know, this is what's up. And he's like, yeah, you're going to lose. So just don't fight it. Just give it to them. So we did. But I also had like 100 other FBA domains. Oh my gosh. But I wasn't squatting, right? This isn't like squat. Like I had FBA books, and I wanted to build a site where it would filter and sort out all the books that are only FBA eligible. Because at the time there weren't many, right?
Yeah.
So and have an affiliate site link, you know, everything's affiliate linked on top of it. So someone who wants FBA books can come to this site. I had all kinds of things like that with plans for every one of them.
Yeah.
Amazon said, yeah, we're gonna need all of those. It's like, shoot. Well, all right. Well, that was a fun little ride. We gave them all over to Amazon. But then merch comes along, and merch was already a word, right? Like people use the word merch to describe merchandise. Yeah. That already existed, but it wasn't like taken with all of the domains, like merch money and merch power and merch. I probably had, I don't know, I guess I have 30 or something merch domains at this point, but merch was already a word. So it can't be
You're like, they can't come get it.
They can't come after it unless you somehow imply affiliation. Like merchbyamazon.com was available for sale. I don't know who had it, but they had merch by Amazon. They were selling it for $2,400. And I actually messaged the head of merch and I said, look, if you promise not to take this from me, I'll buy it and I'll make a great site promoting merch by Amazon. And here's something to know about Amazon, depending on how, and Brianna, I know you've interacted with them a lot.
Yeah.
If they don't answer you, it's probably no, right? Like probably not a good idea, but they're not going to tell you it's not a good idea. Right? They're just going to pretend you didn't ask that question. Right? And that's their way of kind of like, look, if I can't say it, but by not saying yes, I need you to get the gist of this, that's a bad idea. So I went 2 rounds with them on it because I really wanted to know. And I didn't get any answer. So it would have been a bad idea. It would have been you lose $2,400 because as soon as they ask for it, they get it. You know, legally they would get it. Like, you can't be like, no, I'm merch by Amazon. It's like, give me a break. Like, it's not even close. So I didn't waste my money. It's not on the market anymore. I don't know what happened to it. Maybe Amazon ended up finally getting it, but I do encourage. I would love to do like a webinar about buying domains. It's a lot easier than people think. If you know what you're doing, you can get some. I still say you can get some pretty good domains, even off the secondary market for very fair prices, especially if you know how to search for expired ones. And you know, a good domain matters. So I'm glad you got merch money and merch
Thank
dot
you
money.
For doing that. Yes, you gave me both. Yes.
I don't know how much dot money is to renew, so you might want to double check that.
I renewed.
Cheap. First year is cheap. The next year is like, oh, by the way, that's $200 a year.
No, it wasn't that much. I think it was like $40 or something. I forget, but I did it.
Well, it's more than a .com, so.
Yeah. So.
No, we lost Amy.
Amy just messaged. She said she had to go. We normally stop at 9, so but I was like, I did not want to stop you because whatever.
We're gonna bore people eventually.
But yeah, we have 50 viewers. Thank you guys for being here, and definitely subscribe if you came from Chris's channel and you haven't seen us before. Definitely check out some of our other videos and subscribe. I learned a lot from you, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I'm glad. That's the thing. Put out content. You never know who's going to watch it and who's going to benefit from it. A lot of times you never know, which is okay. But then when you meet people, are like, oh, that's cool. She was watching my videos like 5 years ago. That's like,
yeah. And I did meet you at the ACE conference. But at that point, like, it's so funny. Like, now I do YouTube videos. Now it's like I'm more out there. But before, it was just like I kind of was just invisible. Like, I went to things, but it was like,
you were a little bit ninja-like.
Yeah.
You were just kind of blending in.
That's all right.
Just scoping it out, you know. Everybody learns at their own pace.
Yeah.
Everybody starts somewhere. That's the way to do it. Yeah. But so everybody that doesn't know what to do, they need to go to merch.amazon.com if they have not already, right? Like just get your account and at least apply so that you can look forward to having an account, because it's going to be the number one, the easiest, the best place to make money online for the foreseeable future. People ask me all the time, what's next after merch? What's going to be better than merch? I don't know.
It's hard to beat. I mean, it's like, the no content journals is similar. It's like,
but you can only upload so many of those. It's like, it'd be like saying, hey, Trump and Hillary shirts are great. It's like, yeah, but there's only so many that are being shipped every day, right? So
I don't know. It seems to be a pretty big market.
Well, I mean, the journal thing is a fixed market, right? And you could say it about T-shirts. The number. I was going to say,
you could say it about T-shirts. They keep selling.
But if you make a brand, like if Amazon made another awesome looking merch by Amazon shirt, I'm buying that, right? So it's not that I'm buying out of that same pie. It's that once that pie is bigger, now I'm buying again, right? Yeah. I think for stuff like journals might be a little different, and we should do like maybe a marketing episode because there's so much to get into. But if you have that journal, that's great. You now have a page on Amazon that when it sells, you do absolutely nothing and you get money.
Yeah.
But you have to get people to care about that product page.
Right.
Just existing doesn't matter the way that just existing in merch mattered the first year. Is like, whoa, this is like magic money. It's not the exact same way anymore. And it's not that it's bad or worse. It's just that it's different. But if you can learn, the most valuable skill I can tell anybody to learn right now is how to get attention, how to get people to care about you, how to get people to care about your channel, how to get people to care about your products. If you can get people to care about your stuff, you can make money. And you can make money super easy because of print-on-demand products and private label type products and all of these things. And that's why I say don't advertise. If you have a fitness channel, sell your own brand of leggings and yoga pants instead of pushing ads. Like the people don't know how easy it is to sell their own yoga pants, right? Like that's the thing. That's the type of advice that I think I'm really good at giving people is.
That's what Brianna's doing in Brandability, teaching us how to do brands because I haven't built a brand before. I'm a week and a half, 2 weeks in.
Basically doing the same thing that you're doing, Chris. Just using my different skill set to, help people make decisions about what's going to work for them. And, like some people, you talk to them and they're like gung-ho Amazon FBA. And like you said, you talk to them, you get to know them a little more, and you're like, I don't know if FBA is the route for you. You know?
But they need to hear it from you, right? They look up to you.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought I was a retail arbitrager, but Brianna says, you know, I should use my, you know, design master's degree to make art.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, she's right.
I just saw the opportunity, and I knew how great an opportunity was. I didn't like it. I mean, I didn't like packing the boxes or doing any of it, but I just knew how good of an opportunity it was. That's why I did it. So then when merch came along, I'm like, oh, I like that a lot better. You just upload a design. But
well, I got one more piece of advice that I totally stole from Gary Vee. He was doing another video, and one of it was about, or part of it was about failures, right? Because everybody. It's real easy to see all the winning stuff, especially if you like filter what you put on social media. No one puts on, hey, I totally sucked today and did nothing. And I'm a
we were
person.
talking about that. I was like, maybe I should post more of those.
You should, because people identify with them.
Yeah.
And no one cares, right?
Yes. Yes.
No one remembers your losses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So you can share them. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But what Gary Vee was saying in this video, he's talking about, you know, things that he didn't do well. And one of the things was when he was very early on Google AdWords, and he was getting the keyword wine, right? For 5 and 10 cents a click.
Yeah.
Right. He was the only one selling wine on the internet. Like this was an absolute gold mine.
Yeah.
And looking back, he says, the mistake that I made is I didn't realize how good I had it. I didn't realize the opportunity in front of me.
Right.
I didn't spend 50, 100 times more on AdWords then as I should have. He thought it was always going to be there. All these classic things that you could put the merch opportunity right in there right now and be like, wait a minute, is he talking about merch? Right. Yep. Possibly merch is going to change. Yeah. Amazon does not owe us any traffic. Any. If they give us any, it's a gift. They don't owe us anything. But if you can learn how to use Amazon's platforms and you can drive traffic, driving traffic, you know, creating attention, all these things, that's the most valuable thing. Because when you understand Amazon, there's your monetization tool. You just have to flip the switch. But you have to get people to go, and you have to get people to care.
Yes.
Not just go to your product and be like, I don't care about this product. Like, I care about this product. I'm going to go and I'm going to exchange my money for it. And if you master that, that's the game. That's the most valuable skill that you can learn and develop. Yeah. All the other stuff, learn merch in 1 week, learn FBA in another week, and learn private label the third week. But spend the next year, 2, 3 years learning how to drive traffic, build awareness, build a brand, gain attention. That's the absolute game.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I don't know, Brianna, what do you think? You have any questions? I don't think there was any questions in the group. Was there any that we missed, or any in the chat?
Oh, I can follow up with them later.
Yeah.
A lot of people watching, and just a lot of interaction. I don't know. I'm just happy that you had time to come on here and chat with us, and it's nice to get caught up and see what you're up to. I know last time that you and I ran across each other was Chicago, and that was already in October.
Busy. Like, oh, me and Brianna are in the same room. Good luck.
Yeah, it was kind of like, hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? And then we're off, So
yeah.
That was fun, though. I do that again.
I just want to thank both of you. Really, I've learned so much from both of you. I mean, it's amazing. So I appreciate all that you guys are doing. You guys are the trailblazers, and then you're so kind to all the new people coming along. Like you help lift up all the other people trying to help the community. So I appreciate it.
The unrelated Greenes.
That's right. Yeah, people thought we were married for a while.
I forgot about that. You guys have the same last name, and you're both like That was a rumor that went around. The king and queen of Amazon.
Yeah, because in Chicago, I was right before Chris speaking, right? And then someone was like, "Is that your wife? Are you guys married?" We're like, "It's not even spelled the same."
It was funny though. It was funny. But people should go to conferences. People should network. People should hang out in Facebook groups with positive people. Build mastermind groups, build group chats, all things like that. Those are things that are really going to help your business. And
go to the Merch UK conference if you live in anywhere near England or want to go.
That's a no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer.
Yeah. I'm getting on a plane Thursday morning, and I'll somehow get there Friday morning. I don't know. It's the longest thing ever. Lose 6 hours in there somewhere, and also going to New Jersey for, I don't know.
Oh,
it's gonna be a lot of traveling. It's gonna be a lot of traveling.
Good luck with that. All right, well, we'll do it again. How about that?
All right, thank you,
Sounds
Chris.
good.
All right, bye, everybody.
Have a good night.